Ladies and gentlemen, we are live from the Steel Twins recording studio in the cherry capital of the world, Traverse City, Michigan. Introducing your hosts, the Cannonball, the Cannon, the Steel Twins. Okay, let's see.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Sunday night. No, your eyes do not deceive you. It's Sunday night.
And you know what that means? We are doing one of a double shot.
Yep, this is the VSC, a very special episode of voice acting. We hope you guys will attend and watch, or even after the fact. But we're definitely going to be back Monday night as usual. But tonight, we will present the final part, the epic conclusion to the Cosmic Turnabout in Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Dual Destinies. Say that 3 times fast. And get, time permitting, and will driven. If we want to, we will move on to the next
episode, which is Turnabout for tomorrow, and it is heard to be one of the best cases in the entire series.
Yep. Right up there with Bridge to the Turnabout, and the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. So I'm very much looking forward to completing this whole ordeal.
And if you've seen the Facebook post, we also made an announcement that we, the Steel Twins Gaming, will be a part of the Gamer Bikers multi-channel associated stream.
We're doing a massive charity stream, and the benefits from those donations will benefit St. Jude's Hospital.
And that's going to
Sunday, August 4th. Be there and watch on the Gamer Bikers channel, watch on our channel, or any of the other streamers that pop up. We're going to be playing a various assortment of party games, Jackbox party games. We'll be doing Among Us. It's going to be a fun-filled evening for a tremendous cause. Also, follow our friends on follow the Gamer Biker on Twitch, and some of our other associated, partners on Twitch, our friends and all that. And we'll probably see if we could post those links to the chat, actually. Yeah. But before we get too further down the road here, I think I got one last piece of business.
Yeah, let's get on with it.
So, couldn't find any bangs, so I wanted to try this. We're gonna party like a rock star tonight.
Well,
so,
folks,
Package, lead us in with that toast.
Let us waste no more time. If you have a cap to your bottle or a pin on your can, go ahead and pull that pin on the can, or twist that cap off the bottle. Hey, Cannonball, what time is it?
It's time to get by.
I knew you'd say that. Cheers, bud. What are we waiting for? Let's get this shindig on the road.
Yes, indeed. Live scene. Okay. And, of course, we got the PlayStation 5 music going in the background.
Yeah. Okay.
It's coming.
Yeah, it is coming. And we are live.
We live, fam.
Picture's good.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds good.
Nobody's chatted yet.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Those who are watching or those who are going to tune in, feel free to give us some feedback here.
Yep.
I know. Here we go. So
we're always. I know we have faith that we're doing a great job and that you're all entertained. You're always entertained. So, let us begin. Let us conclude the Cosmic Turnabout. Freeze, evening, guys.
Hello. Thanks for tuning in, bro. I'm hearing some fuzz already.
Don't worry about it. I think we're okay.
I think so too. Well, lock 'em and load 'em, ladies. It's go time. Okay. We're not even going to go to the defendant lobby. I think we're going to go straight to the courtroom. Without further ado, December the 20th, 10:15 a.m., District Court, courtroom number 5. And I got a feeling it's going to be a long day.
It's going to be a long day at the office. And it's 5 days from Christmas. Can't stay up too late to watch you guys because I started a new job. Hey, good on you, man.
Awesome.
Good on you, brother. Yeah, if you're even sticking around for 5 minutes, that's all the support we could ever ask for. Thank you so much. So,
let's get going here.
Open up. Let's go.
Okay.
Day 2.
Court is now in session. All rise.
Where's the judge?
I suppose we should reconvene the trial of Solomon Starbuck or something.
Oh, jeez, he's still shaken up from the bombing the other day.
Yep.
Objection!
Objection! Your Honor, could you please come out from under your bench? There are no more bombs, I promise.
Oh, yes. My apologies. I'm still a little jumpy when it comes to trials involving bombs.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. I mean, first the courtroom exploded. Poof. And then Mr. Tonate self-destructed.
I guess that's one way of describing what happened to Tonate.
Anyway, it seems that Mr. Justice was seriously wounded by Mr. Tonate's actions. So you, Mr. Wright, will be taking up the defense. Do you have an understanding of what has happened in the trial so far?
Yes, Your Honor. The defense is ready.
Very well. Is the prosecution also ready? I take it you'd like me to give the opening statement this time.
Looks like the judge has become a pretty good mind reader.
Well, he's certainly seen more than his fair share of colorful prosecutors. You could say he's something of a veteran of sorts.
Let's see. In the previous part of this trial, we learned that the victim, Clay Terran, escaped from Launchpad 1 carrying the defendant, Solomon Starbuck. There were explosions on the second floor of the Space Center and on the rocket itself. The two astronauts used the Launchpad 1 corridor to reach the boarding lounge.
And?
How could the victim climb down the ladder if he was carrying the defendant? That was the mystery that needed to be solved. But Mr. Justice proved that the victim was killed in the boarding lounge. Prosecutor Blackquill, were you able to discover any new facts related to this point?
Upon further investigation, we discovered an oxygen tank fragment in the lounge. Surprisingly, it would appear that Justice Donner's argument was correct.
So that means the testimonies of the first 2 people on the scene are suspect.
There were 2 people who claimed to be the first on the scene. But can we truly trust their statements?
Let's see. The 2 people were Detective Candace Arm and Yuri Cosmos, right? You think that one of them might have given them a false statement to the police?
Yes, it's certainly possible. We might have to do a little more digging.
And just as our team was about to cross-examine Detective Arm, the courtroom bombing incident occurred, and the trial was put on hold. That accursed fellow. He killed my witness. He killed Detective Arm.
He definitely put the kibosh on anyone asking her about what she saw.
Exactly. In other words, the question of who killed the victim in the boarding lounge has once again become the main focus of this trial.
Oops. It's... Sorry, guys.
I think we might want to put that on the front of the screen. It's obvious Prosecutor Blackquill still thinks it was Mr. Starbuck. Fulbright said that Blackquill has a thing against the astronaut. Nevertheless, the defense argues that there was a third person in the lounge, and that's who killed the victim.
Objection!
Objection! To make such reckless claims in a courtroom takes a bold man. Or a stupid one. There was no third person in the boarding lounge. Or have you gone dotty already? Old man.
Objection!
Objection! We'll see who's the dotard after I trounce you with my years of experience, little boy. In any case, Mr. Starbuck claims he saw someone leaving the lounge. Furthermore, a Space Center employee also saw a suspicious figure at the scene.
They saw a third person?
Third person? What?
Where? Who is that?
I see my sister has been running her mouth. That's right. I almost forgot that Aura is Prosecutor Blackwell's sister. No matter. She didn't see this mystery person's... No matter. She didn't see this mystery person's face clearly. Therefore, there is no evidence to indicate that this person was not the defendant. I guess the possibility that the figure was Mr. Starbuck is still there. In brief, we need to determine if a third person was there or not. To this end, we should hear the testimony of one of the first people on the scene.
Director Cosmos, huh?
Very well. Bailiff, please bring the witness to the stand. Beg pardon.
Oh, this guy.
Why, I believe I've seen you before in the newspapers. Of course you have. Of course you have. For I am Yuri Cosmos, director of the Cosmos Space Center, which was of course named after me, Yuri Cosmos. Don't you have anything you wish to ask me?
Looks like he's all geared up to do some bragging.
7 years ago, I successfully launched the Hat 1 and...
Everyone already knows how brilliant you are. Even I am trying to hold back my tears at seeing such a great man standing before me. So could you please proceed directly to your important testimony?
I see this fine young lad has a proper appreciation of greatness. Then allow me to begin my epical testimony that will be recorded in the annals of history.
That speech of Prosecutor Blackwell's just now. It sounded more to me like he was poking fun at Director Cosmos.
It's probably for the best that it sailed right over the director's head.
Now then, Director Cosmos, the condensed version of your illustrious testimony, please.
Yeah, let's jibber jabber, fool.
All right, which testimony? What I saw at the scene. Detective Arm and I rushed towards the boarding lounge together. We went via the control room and peeked in from there to see what was going on inside. We saw a figure standing in the middle of the lounge and Terran lying on the floor. I hate to say it, but I can only imagine the standing figure must have been Starbuck. Press him about the witness seeing a figure. I see. So in your testimony, you claim you arrived on the scene after the two had escaped from the launch pad to the lounge, and just after the victim had been killed. Oh, the horror, the humanity. But what I said is what I saw, and what I saw is what I said.
Kind of sounds like Professor Means.
Courageous action to take in the face of such terrifying explosions, wouldn't you say? To save my men, I went personally into the epicenter of danger, risking my own life for theirs.
Well, what do you know? It sounds like the director really cares about his men.
Yeah, although it sounds more like he was scared and just had a peek from far away.
Is the defense ready to cross-examine the witness?
Yes, Your Honor. Director Cosmos' testimony is pretty vague. I'm gonna have to press him and draw out more information before I do anything else.
That stream paused for some reason. I don't know why, but it's going. I think it's going good. What I saw at the scene. Detective Arm and I rushed towards the boarding lounge together.
Hold it! Hold it! Where were you coming from?
The 6th floor. We were making sure any stragglers made their way to the 4th floor. It was then we heard about Starbuck and Terran and hurried to the 3rd floor lounge. On my galactic scooter here, of course.
Why do you keep calling it galactic? Does it have something to do with space?
Of course. It's specifically designed to be used on galactic battleships.
I see. Then I take it works in 0G too?
Sadly, no. With the current state of technology as it is, I'm afraid it would just float about and be galactically useless.
Jesus Christ. Well, that's a galactic bummer.
I see. So you rushed to the boarding lounge on your space-age pogo stick.
Got his ass.
When you got to the scene, what did you see? We went via the control room and peeked in from there to see what was going on inside.
Hold it! Hold it! Let's see. According to this diagram, you didn't have to go through the control room to get to boarding lounge 1. It looks like you could have gone there from the southern corridor as well.
Yes, but in her haste, Detective Arm rushed ahead of me towards the control room. All I could do was merely follow behind her.
I see.
So we peeked into the boarding lounge from the control room door, and we saw a figure standing in the middle of the lounge and Terran lying on the floor.
Hold it! Here we go. Let's talk to him about this. So you couldn't see who that figure was clearly or what they were doing?
Sadly, the only thing I could tell was that it was a person standing motionless.
The defendant, no doubt, staring aghast at his deed. What other explanation is there? So close. Without evidence, I can't prove that the person's the third party.
I don't relish in this, and I hate to say it, but I can only imagine the standing figure must have been Starbuck.
Hold it! Hold it! Aura Blackquill also saw a suspicious figure in the lounge, but she gave the statement that it was too dark to see the person's face clearly. Did you see this figure's face clearly?
No, not clearly. The lighter they were holding illuminated the area around their feet at the time.
So it might be important to know what shoes they were wearing.
But other than that, I could see little else. That's why I could see Terran, but I couldn't see who the other person was.
So for all you know, it might not have been Mr. Starbuck. Isn't that correct?
I would like to believe that. Starbuck isn't the type of man who's capable of murder.
Objection!
Objection! When the witness entered the boarding lounge, there was no third person there. Isn't that correct, Great Space Center Director?
Yes, that's right. Only Starbuck and Terran were there by that time.
Why is Prosecutor Blackquill pushing towards that?
I don't know. After we peeked in, the lounge suddenly went dark and the figure vanished.
You mean they disappeared? That's odd.
Objection!
Objection! The reason the figure appeared to vanish is because it was the defendant. When the witnesses weren't looking, he fell to the floor and feigned unconsciousness.
Hold it!
Hold it! Hold on. Director Cosmos, did you ever take your eyes off of the scene?
Just for a brief instant, about as long as it takes for a shooting star to go by.
If you took your eyes off the scene, then this third person could have escaped during that time.
But what escape route could this person have used?
The direction opposite the control room, the southern door to the elevators. There's no security lock on that door, so it would have been possible to escape that way.
Objection!
Objection! All things are possible, right, Dono? The real question is, do you have any proof? Well... If we're just talking possibilities, we could each profess whatever we'd like. An inmate who used to be a university professor and lunar researcher used to say that there is a kingdom of little green men who live under the surface of the moon. As long as they don't punish us in the name of said moon for what we've done to it. But I say, where's your proof that this quaint kingdom exists?
He's calling your theory a work of fiction, boss.
And he's right. I don't have any proof yet. Still. The southern door was a possible escape route. I'd better make a mental note of that. Director Cosmos, may I ask you a question?
Yes?
Why did you look away from the boarding lounge?
Ha! There's actually another tale of bravery behind the answer to that. It was when Detective Arm saw the figure and raised her gun. Being a great humanitarian and protector of mankind, I tried to stop her.
What? You're saying Detective Arm raised her gun as soon as she saw the figure?
I imagine her instincts as a detective told her they were the killer.
I don't know about that. And were you able to prevent Detective Arm from firing her gun?
I'm afraid I was too late. I was unable to stop her.
Right, because she did fire the weapon.
She identified herself clearly, and then she fired 2 warning shots at the shadowy figure.
Nope.
This information about Detective Arm's actions sounds critically important. Please add it to your testimony. Detective Arm fired 2 warning shots at the figure. No,
she did not. Okay, a single bullet hole was found in the boarding lounge. The bullet itself, well, we found the bullet. So, objection! Are you sure you were really paying attention to what Detective Arm was doing?
You doubt my words? Words that will someday be written down in history books!
He's trying to rev up his scooter. Somehow, I don't think that those exact words will ever be written down in any history books.
Mr. Wright, could you please explain yourself so that we can all understand?
You say that Detective Arm fired 2 warning shots, and yet only 1 bullet hole was ever found at the scene.
What?
Only 1 bullet hole means the gun was only fired once, and yet Director Cosmos is saying Detective Arm fired 2 shots. No editor would allow such a glaring contradiction into a history book.
Objection!
Objection! Unfortunately for you, the witness's words are true. We confirmed that 2 shots were fired from Detective Arm's gun.
Objection!
Objection! But there was only 1 bullet hole at the scene. Where did the other bullet hole vanish to? Uh-oh. I think she hit the mark. Ah! You should know the answer to that already. I should? During the previous trial, a certain oxygen tank was presented as evidence. We've already discussed that it was ruptured in the lounge, have we not? Well, it appears that the thing that ruptured it was a bullet. A bullet that was found near the tank, to be precise. This bullet was fired from a .38 caliber gun, the same caliber as the detective's gun. Time out! Time out!
What?
The detective's gun was a 10 caliber gun.
Wait a minute now.
What? Oxygen tank data updated in the court
The
record.
victim's oxygen tank was struck by a bullet.
Now, okay. The rifling marks also match up. There's no question that the bullet was fired from Detective Arm's gun. Bullet from Arm's gun added to the court record.
Bullet found near the victim's oxygen tank. It was fired from a .38 caliber handgun. Rifling marks. They're like a gun's fingerprints on a bullet, correct?
Okay, so look at this. So this bullet here was discovered in a gutter that runs along the south wall of the boarding lounge. It was fired from a .10 caliber handgun.
Well, yeah, think about that bullet for a second here.
Yeah,
I think that may come into play.
Absolutely, it's going to come into play. That means there were 2 guns involved at the scene.
Right?
Holy smokes. Okay.
And examining the rifling marks on the bullet can tell us the gun it was fired from.
One of the bullets the detective fired found its way to the holographic image display. The other bullet came to a stop near the victim's oxygen tank. The evidence confirms the director's statement that the detective fired 2 shots. A beautiful contradiction. Gone. All gone.
So that bullet hole was from a .38 caliber, huh? I better update the record.
Bullet hole updated in the court record.
The only bullet hole found in the boarding lounge was made by a bullet fired from a .38 caliber gun.
So how do we explain the 10 caliber bullet? Anyway.
Very good. Now we know the fate of both of the shots Detective Arm fired. Mr. Wright, does that clear up all of your questions?
No, it does not. Detective Arm fired 2 warning shots. One hit the holographic display, and the other hit the oxygen tank. Does that really clear up everything about what happened at the scene?
No,
it doesn't. No, Your Honor, it doesn't. Detective Arm fired 2 warning shots from a .38 caliber gun. But that doesn't explain the existence of a certain piece of evidence found at the scene. A piece that points to the existence of a third person. Oh? I don't get paid enough for this. What's up, Zion Boy Man?
Feel free to give us feedback on how the stream's going and everything else in between. Very well. But it won't do to keep us waiting, Mr. Wright. What piece of evidence suggests the possibility of a third person at the scene?
Drum roll. Take that! Take that!
And what is this metal pellet supposed to be?
Just a little something of great importance we found at the crime scene, Your Honor.
That's great. Good to hear.
You found it where? In a floor gutter at the crime scene. It looks like the police and prosecution both missed it. Furthermore, this is a 10 caliber bullet, making it much smaller than one of Detective Arm's .38 calibers.
Then that means...
Exactly. One more person must have been there in the lounge. A third person who had a gun that could fire 10 caliber bullets.
A third bullet? A third bullet? What?
And if that's true, it explains why Detective Arm fired warning shots. This third person fired at Detective Arm and Director Cosmos with their gun. And in return, the detective fired her warning shots. Isn't that how it really went down, Director Cosmos?
It looks like you've deduced my miraculous tale of survival. Yes, you're absolutely correct. The mystery person fired upon us. Well, what's this now?
Oh. What? You never breathed a word of any of this to me before.
He did it? I don't think so.
No.
Well, all great men have a secret or two, don't you know?
Foolish old geezer. Yeah, we don't think this guy's our mark, but he's definitely sus. So Director Cosmos really has been hiding the presence of a third person all along? Director Cosmos, I want you to testify to the court about what you really saw.
It's obvious that the old man did it, but I don't know. You may be a very great man, but in my courtroom, you are just another witness. You won't receive special treatment here. Now, please give accurate testimony. All right. Spill the beans, old man. Witness testimony. What I really saw at the scene. Detective Arm and I rushed to the control room together. In the lounge, we saw a figure standing in the middle of the room and Terran on the floor. We were still in the control room to the east when the figure fired at us. Wait a minute, that's not right. Given that there was no third person in the lounge when the witness entered it, does this mean the person who fired the gun had to have been the defendant?
Tell the truth or I will shove ladybugs down your pants. Nah, sure. Not necessarily. It's still possible that it was someone else. Most likely, as soon as Detective Arm and Director Cosmos discovered this person, they escaped through the southern door, the one that didn't have a security lock.
Objection!
Objection! Double-edged swords are a tricky lot. Mishandle one, and it is you who is cut down. Huh? Your reasoning could apply if Space Boy were the killer as well. Think about it. After being discovered, he could have fired the 10 caliber gun.
Huh?
Detective Arm would have responded by firing 2 warning shots. All he had to do was feign unconsciousness to invent the possibility of a third person.
Objection!
Objection! But Mr. Starbuck didn't have a gun in his possession when he was found by police.
Blacquill, you smooth-talking son bitch.
Nor has a gun been found at the crime scene. Its absence can only be explained if there was a third party who took it with them.
Objection!
Objection. Recall the existence of a trash chute in the boarding lounge. The defendant could have simply thrown the gun down the chute.
Objection!
Objection! But you can't deny the possibility of the third person leaving with the weapon.
Objection!
Objection!
Back and forth.
It's up to you to prove that possibility. And I trust you haven't forgotten my little piece of decisive evidence.
I'd object to Blacquill being smart.
What evidence? Why, the detonator switch that was found in Mr. Starbuck's pocket, naturally. The most compelling evidence of all that tells us he is the culprit. Ah! I did forget about all that. Look, your baldness, how deliciously obvious it is that they lack the evidence to rival mine.
Wow, he sliced our third person theory to ribbons and served it to us just like that.
Yes, well, I have a question of my own, actually. That bullet that the mysterious figure shot, what did it hit exactly? Can I slap Blacquill? It hit me.
No, it did not.
So does that mean you're a ghost?
Shut up. I was wondering when you would realize it, your baldness. Director Cosmos is an authentic, bona fide ghost. He can even pass through walls.
Look at his badge. You see that? It looks like a bullet hole in the badge. That may have been what the bullet
so
hit.
he didn't die. The bullet just hit his badge.
Oh!
Objection! Objection! Prosecutor Blacquill, shame on you for teasing the nice old gentleman!
Okay, if it hit you, you stupid ass would be dead, asshole. Except it did. Well, it did hit him. Did you notice that dimple on his badge?
Yeah.
That's where it hit him. Your baldness, it was all in jest. Please show yourself again.
Are you sure? In that case, how did you manage to survive being shot, Director Cosmos? I'm glad you asked. It was a miracle befitting a great history-making figure such as myself. The bullet hit my glorious Medal of Honor, whereby it ricocheted, thus saving my life. I knew it. What?
Oh my gosh, that's unbelievable.
I have to check this out. Oh, wow! Look at that! There's one extra Galaxy star!
The odds are literally astronomical.
This is a big heap of BS.
I guess it really was a miracle.
It's beginning to really feel like the Cosmos is watching out for Director Cosmos.
But why did you conceal this information, Director Cosmos? A great man such as myself has to hide things on occasion, no matter how much it hurts.
Oh, stop it.
It is a plight of the truly great. It may be hard for this generation to understand.
I don't know, but it sounds fishy to me. What else is he hiding?
Let's just cross-examine him and see what we can find out.
Now then, Mr. Wright, your cross-examination, please. All right, call him on his lie. I think I know where he's lying. Cross-examination time. What I really saw at the scene. Detective Arm and I rushed to the control room together. In the lounge, we saw a figure standing in the middle of the room and Terran on the floor. We were still in the control room to the east when the figure fired at us. No, you were not. How would you explain the 10 caliber gun found in the? How would you explain the 10 caliber bullet found in the gutter on the south wall?
Yeah.
Objection!
Objection!
Okay.
Director Cosmos, I believe you are telling this great court a glorious lie.
Is this?
He's a brick-a-bracket captain there to fucking... Okay.
Killer.
I don't think he is. I don't think he's the killer, but he's hiding something. Let's find out. Director Cosmos, I believe you are telling this great court a glorious lie.
A great man like me tell a lie? Have you ever heard of such a thing in all of history?
Yosemite Sam. I love that comparison. My accusation is based on the positions of the people who were in the lounge. According to your testimony, you and Detective Arm were near the control room door, and the mystery figure was standing in the middle of the boarding lounge. If, as you say, the figure fired a gun at you from this position, then the bullet would have traveled in this direction. However, we found the 10 caliber bullet here.
Oh!
This trajectory and where the bullet was actually found contradict each other. Director Cosmos, where were you really when you were being shot at?
Gah!
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the human merry-go-round.
Objection!
Objection! Don't tell me you've forgotten already. Didn't the witness himself just tell you the bullet hit his medal?
Why you Brack Fulton frontin' Philip Buggin' Borton Peck of Living Varmint Killer you?
Of this, there is no mistake.
Objection!
Objection! But in that case, the bullet should have been found near the east side of the room. Are you trying to say that you could explain this inconsistency? Of course. I didn't think so. What? Huh. Oh, great Director Cosmos.
Yes? Is there something you'd like me to expend upon?
You were in fact not in the control room to the east, were you? You were looking into the lounge from the door to the south. Is that not right?
Gah! Send him to the sun, biatch.
Well, what are you getting at? Use your own brain. Your head must have some other use than housing that bird's nest. Bird's nest? Why does everyone pick on my hair? Director Cosmos and the detective witnessed this scene from the southern door. The killer fired at them there, and that is why the bullet was found in the south. Ah! That makes some sense, actually. Also, the witness being at the southern door is rather favorable for the prosecution. Huh? I got a bad feeling about this. How about it, Director? If you don't tell the truth this time...
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Yikes! His handcuffs!
You will become but rust upon my sword. I relish the chance to cut down a great man.
Hard grill for night, Blackquill. All right, I'll tell the truth. Just put your sword away. You are correct. I, the great Yuri Cosmos, was looking into the room from the southern door.
What? That's the complete opposite of all the testimony he's given so far. And now you've lost your possibility that a third person was in the room.
BS.
Have? How? The director and the detective were near the southern door, meaning the killer couldn't have escaped through there. The western door required print recognition. The corridor beyond was filled with smoke. The only escape route left was the eastern control room door. And the only way to get through there was with Director Cosmos's fingerprints. In short, there would be no escape for any third person had there been one.
Cool Chris 9, yo, first time.
My third person just disappeared, like in one of Trucy's magic tricks.
Got a new guy in the chat.
I know. Give me a second.
Order! Order in the court.
Hi, Cool Chris 9. Thank you so much for chatting.
I really want to punch Blackwell in his big mouth. Any idea who that is, or is it just like a...
Just a new fan.
Probably just a new fan. Okay.
Okay.
Order in the court. Director Cosmos, why did you tell such an outrageous lie?
You were covering for the defendant. Isn't that right?
Yes. It was all for the love of my men. If I said I was in the eastern control room, it would mean the culprit could have escaped through the southern door.
He's not that bad. He's certainly better than other prosecutors.
Okay.
Well, I think so. I still think Prosecutor Gavin's the best one.
Yep. It would have meant that there could have been a third person. All I wanted to do was protect Starbuck. I said I was in the control room to invent an escape route for a third person.
What a convoluted lie. Was he really covering for the defendant?
It looks like we've come to a conclusion that the defense's argument, the possibility of a third person, has crumbled.
No!
It's over.
Oh, absolutely, Gavin is the best.
Yikes. The judge is about to hand down his verdict. Think, Phoenix, think! This is the perfect time to try to turn my thinking around. If a third person had no way of escaping the scene, then what if one of the people at the scene was this third person? Wait! What if the whole premise is all wrong?
The only one I can tolerate is Edgeworth.
Edgeworth is cool. Director Cosmos said that he and Detective Arm rushed to the scene together. But what if that premise isn't true? What if one of them reached the scene before the other one? And if that person entered the lounge, then they would be the third person.
The defendant is the only one who could have killed the victim and shot at the director. Emphasis on tolerate.
Yeah.
There doesn't appear to be any room for argument against these claims. I will now render my verdict.
Objection!
Not yet, honey bunny.
Please wait, Your Honor. There is still one possibility.
Oh? This had better be good, Mr. Wright.
There is one and only one person who could have escaped from the scene. And that person would be the first person who arrived on the scene. Then, upon entering the boarding lounge, the second person to arrive came via the southern door. That's why the first person fled from the room using an escape route that was accessible only to them.
Very well. Let's hear more about this theory. Who is this one person who could have escaped from the boarding lounge?
Oh, it's all coming back. It's coming back to me now.
3, 2,
1. Take that!
What? But that's... Mr. Wright, what are you claiming here?
Of all the people who were at the scene, only the witness could have escaped. The director is the only one with the authority to open the control room door, after all.
But that means... Was I right?
Exactly. The true identity of the third person is our current witness. We're just saying that he's in the room. We can't prove that he actually killed somebody. But let's find out. Director Yuri Cosmos!
Ah!
What?
What?
Order! Order in the court, I say! Mr. Wright, you will explain yourself in more detail!
I assert that Director Cosmos arrived at the scene before Detective Arm and entered the boarding lounge alone. Detective Arm arrived after that and saw a suspicious figure who was actually Director Cosmos standing in the lounge. And that's why she fired those 2 warning shots.
Gah! I've been hit! I've been hit on the starboard side!
Captain Wright, it's a direct hit on the enemy ship, sir. A magnificent shot.
Warning shots fired from the enemy ship! Prepare to intercept!
Cosmos, you have told a lie in this court once again.
I've been hit! I've been hit on the port side! The enemy has called in reinforcements!
Earth to Cosmos Control Center, requesting permission to ask that you return to reality.
But my ship will not go down to anything less than the ultimate weapon of evidence!
Objection! But I do have evidence. In fact, you could say that your battleship bears its scar. If Director Cosmos is the third person Aura Blackquill saw, this third person fired at Detective Arm and Director Cosmos with their gun. And in return, the detective fired her warning shots. Isn't that how it really went down, Director Cosmos?
Ha ha ha! It looks like you've deduced my miraculous tale of survival! Yes, you're absolutely correct. The mystery person fired upon us! Let's go!
Director Cosmos must have been the one who fired the 10 caliber gun. When Detective Arm discovered him in the lounge, it only makes sense that he would have turned and shot at her. Therefore, the evidence on the director's body is of a different kind of relevance than before. Once we compare it against another piece of evidence, the mark that you received from the third party will be all the proof we need to prove that you were the one there in the lounge.
Brace for further impact!
Comparison against this piece of evidence will prove that you were the one in the lounge.
No, the other one.
This one here?
I think so.
Take that! The 38 caliber bullet found on the floor at the scene didn't hit the oxygen tank. It hit Director Cosmos' metal. If we have that ricochet mark on the metal analyzed, I'm sure the caliber will match up. And if that mark proves to be from a 38 caliber bullet, it will prove that you are the third person we've been looking for.
Gah! The bridge is destroyed! Losing altitude! All hands abandon ship! If that's true, then what about the bullet that hit the oxygen tank?
It didn't. It was the 10 caliber bullet. In other words,
Okay, Captain Kirk, chill.
it was the bullet fired by Yuri Cosmos. Isn't that right, Director?
No! You've got it all wrong! What? The engines have started again? It's a miracle! I'm not going down yet! Witness, stop this at once and confess the truth!
If you don't want the history books to say that a great man was a great liar,
Then accept your fate and tell the truth!
Are you giving me orders? Me, the great director of the Cosmos Space Center? Gah! But the cosmos revolves around me!
I'm getting dizzy watching this guy.
Ah! Someone get me off this thing! Order! Order in the court! And will someone please stop the witness from spinning?
Oh my God.
This is stupid.
Well, all right. Well, hang on a second, though.
Thank goodness we were able to stop him from spinning off the face of the earth.
God's sake is right, Zion. While he was twirling, I took the liberty of running an analysis on the mark on the medal. It was made by a .38 caliber bullet, matching it with the size of Detective Arm's firearm.
Are you ready to confess the truth, witness?
That he was the guy in the third room, not necessarily the guy that killed Clay. Remember that?
No, you've got it all wrong. This is just a misunderstanding.
Is he gonna start piling on more lies?
It looks like it.
In wise words of Dr. Evil,
Gonna vom. But no matter how many lies he tells, I'll just expose them one by one. I'll make that big liar tell the truth.
Yeah, you tell him, Phoenix. To be continued. Well, we gotta keep going.
Well, we gotta keep going. We're only an hour in.
Yeah, just an hour, man.
Yeah, so we've just identified a suspect, that's all.
Yeah, just a suspect, but let's do it further. We need to dig.
We gotta dig deeper.
We gotta find the truth. That's the goal here. Director Cosmos, a new possibility has been presented by the defense. They are claiming that you were this third person. Forgive me. I'm so sorry.
So the great pioneer of space development is revealed to be just another fabulous cur. I only have one question for the likes of you. Shall I send you off quickly or very quickly? The evidence doesn't lie, Director Cosmos, so don't try to talk your way out of this.
Fine. I'll tell the truth. It's all just as you say, Mr. Wright. It's true that I was there in the boarding lounge. I got there before Detective Arm, and when she arrived, she fired warning shots at me. I was afraid people would mistake me for the killer. So I escaped to the control room. I then went past the elevators and all the way around to boarding lounge 1 again. I came up behind Detective Arm and pretended to be the second on the scene.
What a troublesome old man you are, with such convoluted deeds and thoughts.
I see. So then, are you still insisting that you did not kill the victim?
Right. Something tells me he's not our guy.
Of course I am! When I arrived at the lounge alone, I saw the true killer!
Who was it?
The great Yuri Cosmos was a history-making witness!
Hold it! Now hold on just one moment. We just proved a few minutes ago that the third person that Mr. Starbuck and Ms. Aura Blackquill saw was you!
No! It wasn't me! I saw the person as well! If I were the killer, why would I lie to cover for Starbuck? I would just leave him to take the fall.
That is an excellent point.
All I wanted to do was protect Starbuck. I said I was in the control room to invent an escape route for a third person.
Well, it makes some sense if he told those lies to cover for Mr. Starbuck.
Still, a lie's a lie, Athena.
Damn.
So Director Cosmos claims he's not the culprit. But where's the proof?
Oh, I just remembered. I have an alibi. Ms. Blackquill said that she saw the killer at 10 a.m., correct?
Yes. And?
Well, I was on the 4th floor helping with the evacuation effort. Ask any member of the staff you'd like. They'll corroborate me.
Well, hang on a second. That doesn't make any goddamn sense. Because if she saw the killer with the knife at 10 a.m. and Director Cosmos was in the room with the killer, how could he be on the 4th floor? Makes no sense.
I don't know.
The director is not fibbing to the court for once. I confirm that he has an alibi for the time specified. So, you're claiming that Ms. Blackquill saw the killer commit the crime first at 10 a.m.
Can I say it? Whatever you... I don't know.
Say what? And that you arrived at the lounge after that?
Yes, and I believe the person I saw is the same person that Ms. Blackquill saw. Although it was pitch black, so it was more of a shadowy figure and less of a person. And I couldn't actually see their face, but it was definitely the silhouette of an earthling.
As long as he has an alibi... As long as he has an alibi, we can't very well claim Director Cosmos was the killer.
I was gonna say, you lying son bitch.
Yeah, well, let's see. I'm starting to hear crackling.
Me too.
Okay.
5650.
Yeah, it's going. Hang on.
We gotta take a break. Can you hear us now?
Hey!
Well, we're back.
Okay, so can you hear us?
Is the stream still going?
Well,
isn't
stream's still going. We're fine.
Yeah,
It's just
okay.
yeah.
How's the stream going, Zion?
No, we can't. Then again, maybe we don't need to yet.
Still hearing crackling.
I wonder if he was really covering for Mr. Starbuck. Your Honor, the defense moves to have the director testify about the person he saw.
Very well. Director Cosmos, your testimony, please. Stream is good. All right. Sounds good.
It's God, actually.
God.
Yeah, that's good too.
What I really witnessed, witness testimony. As I tried to enter the lounge, the true killer inside fired a gun at me. I hid to avoid getting shot. But when I tried to get another look, they had vanished into thin air. I was near the elevator side door, and well, the launch pad 1 door and the control room door should have been shut tight to the killer. Not that.
So you were shot at by the killer as well? And then they disappeared?
He's confusing me.
He's definitely confusing me.
Yes, though luckily, no harm came to my glorious body.
Except for that bullet hole on his metal.
Unfortunately, the bullet hit Terran's oxygen tank. I know because I heard a pang. That must have been the sound of the tank being ruptured.
Wait, but I thought the bullet hit his metal.
That was Detective Arm's bullet, remember?
Right. What a mess this is turning into. So let's see. Director Cosmos is claiming that when he found Mr. Terran and his killer, The culprit shot a 10 caliber bullet at him.
Right, but it actually hit Mr. Terran's oxygen tank and ruptured it.
And then, the killer disappeared and the director went into the boarding lounge. When Detective Arm caught up and fired those warning shots at him. Judging by his medal, it looks like one of them almost took him out, too.
Good summary, but that doesn't explain where a mystery killer went.
It's more of a mess in my bedroom, and that's saying something.
Man, yeah, don't admit that publicly.
Yep.
So anyway, Director Cosmos, I was wondering if you could elaborate on when the figure disappeared.
I'm ashamed to admit I tried to hide myself when I was shot at, but when I peeped back into the lounge, the real killer was gone. I rushed into the lounge straight away to investigate. But what I found was Terran with a knife in his chest and Starbuck out cold on the floor. So we have a culprit who vanished from a scene that had no escape route.
Now, hang on a second. Now, there's the lobby. Now, there's the launch pad 1 corridor, right? And that knob was turned off. Okay.
Just keep going.
Just keep going.
Vanished without a trace. It's truly like one of the great mysteries of the cosmos.
Silence.
That makes zilch sense.
A riddle of the ages indeed. But I'd rather know how a fibbing leech such as you can be lauded as great.
A great man is always misunderstood in his own time, but he must remain true to himself even if those around him don't understand.
Wow, that might be the first true statement he's said all day. But how do you suppose this person managed to vanish so suddenly? Simple. Because it was Space Boy himself. When he was spotted by the director and Aura, he quickly feigned unconsciousness.
It's like a broken ATM. That shit don't make no sense.
That's right. That would certainly take all the mystery out of the idea of a vanishing culprit. I want to raise an objection, but I don't have any counter evidence. Director Cosmos, when you saw this person, did you also see Mr. Starbuck on the floor?
No, because it was as dark as a black hole in there. I didn't see Starbuck until the other person vanished and I entered the room.
That wasn't exactly helpful. I'm prepared to accept your surrender, Wright Dodo. Can't find any holes in this testimony, but I can't give up.
Mr. Wright, why don't you let me help?
Huh?
While the director was giving his testimony, I detected a cacophony of discord.
Which means he's hiding his true feelings from us, huh? This just might help us find out what happened to our vanished killer. That'd be great, Athena. Let's see what you can do with him.
You got it, boss. I wouldn't want to miss this chance to delve into a great mind.
I don't know why Blackquill is an ass.
I don't know either.
That's a good one.
Yuri Cosmos, prepare to hand over the secrets of your heart to me.
That does not sound like something that.
All right.
That sounds like something a girlfriend would say to a boyfriend. Honestly.
Mood Matrix, activate!
All right, let me see if I can do this on my own.
As I tried to enter the lounge, the true killer inside fired a gun at me.
Sadness and surprise. And a little bit of anger. Well, I guess some emotions could be construed here.
I hid to avoid getting shot. Same kind of emotion, I think. But when I tried to get another look, they had vanished into thin air.
But why is he not having any emotions?
Well, here's the big question. He could have been surprised when they vanished into thin air.
Right, except,
I was near the elevator side door, And well, the launch pad 1 door.
Why is he sad here?
Why is he afraid? Well, there are 2 parts of that, so continue. And the control room door should have been shut tight to the killer.
Okay, so where do I go first? I would say that there should have been a surprise here, but he doesn't have a surprise.
That's right.
So let's take a look at that first. Got it.
Emotion powers activate, bitches.
Yeah.
I love Athena's power.
Yep. You must have thought it was very strange that the killer vanished into thin air.
Yeah, I did. That kind of thing just doesn't happen usually.
And yet, at that time, you barely registered any shock at the occurrence.
What? Why are you...
I can only think of one reason as to why you weren't surprised by the killer's vanishing act. You must have had a good idea of where they went. Isn't that right?
What? No, of course not. That's preposterous. Only I can enter the control room. And the area beyond the launch pad door was filled with smoke, making it impassable.
You know what? I think that 2's gonna come in real handy now.
Yeah.
Because... Well, that corridor wasn't actually filled with smoke.
Right. And as for the southern door... I was standing right there. So there was nowhere for the killer to run to.
Maybe or maybe not. You went into the room to check on Mr. Starbuck and Mr. Terran, yes? What if the culprit took that opportunity to silently slip out through the southern door?
I highly doubt it. As you recall, right after I entered the lounge... Oh, I knew he did. Detective Arm came rushing towards it herself via the southern hallway. Anyone trying to escape through there would have been caught by her.
And yet, the director wasn't surprised the killer vanished. So you're absolutely sure there was no escape route for the culprit to use?
It's working, boss. One more punch and it'll be a knockout. There seems to be one more emotion that's at odds with his testimony. Go get him.
Okay, back in the Matrix it is. Time to pinpoint our way to victory.
All right. Now, I think you said there was like another contradiction on there, right?
Yeah, it was. Why was he sad or afraid that the one door was
that launch pad 1 door?
Yeah. Why is that? Got it. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you seem to be afraid of the launch pad door.
The great Yuri Cosmos? Afraid? What basis do you have for that outlandish accusation?
Whether I have any basis or not, you seem quite distressed by it.
More like gotcha. I'm most certainly not.
Huh. Director Cosmos, there's something about the launch pad door you're not telling us, isn't there?
Wow, he's speechless. It looks like you hit the nail on the head, boss. I'll just input those 2 pieces of data and... Yes! Just what I wanted to see.
30%.
Presto changeo! Less discord! It looks like we're on the right track.
Thanks, Athena. Now to make sense of what we've learned. Director Cosmos wasn't surprised that the culprit suddenly vanished from the lounge, which points to the possibility that he knew where the killer had escaped to. Furthermore, talking about the door to the launch pad made him uneasy. In other words, he's probably hiding something about the launch pad 1 door. When we put these 2 pieces together, only one solution to this puzzle comes to mind. Director Cosmos, did the real killer escape through here?
The launch pad 1 corridor.
It has to be there. Take that! Take that! The culprit went through the launch pad 1 door to escape, didn't they?
Yes. I mean, no. Disaster to starboard! We're going to crash into an asteroid!
A master tactician, you are not.
But the area beyond that door was filled with smoke, wasn't it?
True, but this is still the only logical answer there is. If we could just figure out what the director is hiding about the Launchpad 1 door, we should be able to iron out the logical inconsistencies.
But that door requires fingerprint recognition. Only Starbuck, Terran, and I have access. I don't see how the killer could have opened that security lock. Do you?
Unless he opened it. Now, hang on, though. Terran's, Starbuck's fingerprints were found on that door. What if he took the guy's glove off and smashed his hand on there?
Well, it is a possibility. Somebody did.
Somebody did. That's an easy one. The killer was right there in the boarding lounge, meaning there's a way he could have easily gotten past that security lock. I'm gonna go bust his ass for me.
Yeah, okay. See you later,
We will,
Brian.
Bubba. Thanks for watching. Come to think of it, we did examine the prints on the fingerprint recognition device. I propose that the killer use this person's fingerprints to get past the security lock.
This guy.
Take that!
That's...
Mr. Starbuck was lying unconscious there in the boarding lounge. Anybody could have easily gotten past the security lock by using Mr. Starbuck's prints. And actually, Mr. Starbuck's prints are exactly what we found on the device's screen. Looks like he does have something to hide about the Launchpad 1 door. And I'm betting it's got something to do with the culprit's escape route. But I don't have enough information to see the whole picture yet.
You know, something just occurred to me. Would you like to hear it?
Huh? Oh, yes, by all means.
There's the security camera in boarding lounge 1.
Right, the one that recorded the victim and the defendant. What about it, Your Honor?
If the true culprit escaped into the Launchpad 1 corridor, then that might be recorded on the security footage as well. Then the mystery would be solved. What do you think of my logic?
He chirp, 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 chirp. I hope you didn't strain your faculties too much for that, your baldness.
I beg your pardon?
Look, if we play the security footage beyond this point...
Yeah, that's right, blackout. Oh my, the footage cuts off.
The camera was running on backup power, but apparently the power cables were damaged, most likely by the after effects of the explosion. There is no footage after this, be it of criminals or space aliens.
And I thought it was such a good idea, too.
Just because your grandchild is watching from the gallery, it doesn't mean you should try to show off too much, Grandpa Baldness.
Prosecutor Blackquill, how did you know about my grandchild?
Yeah.
I think his grandchild just learned a little about the harshness of the adult world.
Huh. Setting aside the issue of grandchildren, I'd like to have the witness continue. Director Cosmos, could you tell us more about when you entered the lounge?
If I must. I hid to avoid getting shot. After the killer vanished, I went into the lounge. But that's when Detective Arm appeared from the elevator side door.
He's very surprised.
And then the detective shot him. Well, how could he be less surprised when Detective Arm shot at him? That doesn't make sense.
Got it. Director Cosmos, why were you so surprised when Detective Arm found you, and again when she fired? Isn't that a bit unnatural?
Sadly, even great men such as myself have ordinary human feelings. Our bodies are bound by the forces of gravity and emotions. Even a great man such as myself experiences surprise on occasion.
Yes, I'm sure you do. But my real point is not the fact that you were surprised, but rather what you were surprised by.
Pardon me?
First, you were surprised when Detective Arm found you in the lounge. And just after that, you were, of course, again surprised when she shot at you. But, considering what you were surprised about, a strange phenomenon occurs here. Director Cosmos, what is strange about your surprise reaction is the fact that you were
more surprised
when Arm came.
Yes.
Sure, you were surprised when Detective Arm shot at you, but the surprise you felt when she found you in the lounge was much greater.
Ugh.
The fact that you were more surprised by simply being found than by being shot at suggests to me that you were conflicted about whatever it was you were doing there.
The enemy has acquired a new weapon. Commence Operation Hide onto your desk. Ah!
Please tell me I finally sunk his battleship.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Almost there.
Boss, I'm getting less Discord now. That must mean he really is hiding something about that launch pad door.
And whatever he's hiding most likely has something to do with the killer's escape.
I wonder what it could be.
If he was doing something suspicious around that door, maybe we can spot some change between before he came to the room and after.
Detective Fulbright gave us a photo taken after the crime. Let's run a comparison. Let's see. This is footage of the door before Director Cosmos arrived. And this is how the door looked after the director entered the lounge.
See that hole there?
Well, yeah, but what is it?
I mean, it's some, and I know that there's the
knob.
the knob
Well,
there.
I think that's how it was designed in the first place. So there can't be something wrong about the hole.
Okay. Hey, look at that. There is a change. Something's definitely different. Director Cosmos?
What is it? Why have you two been up to it? What have you two been up to over there?
Finding the answer to what you were doing when Detective Arm found you. That's what. And that answer lies clearly in this footage. All we have to do is compare it to the photo that was taken during the investigation.
Don't be ridiculous! If you really do have an answer, you would have pointed it out already! Oops.
He's asking.
Something's wrong.
He's asking for it. This is what changed directly after the incident.
Take that!
Take that! The answer is this knob.
Try now.
The answer is this knob.
No! That's...
Your Honor, please take a look at this footage.
Let's see.
Take a look at the knob next to the launch pad door. As you can see, it's horizontal.
Yes, it is, isn't it?
However, when we investigated the scene of the crime yesterday, the knob was vertical.
And what does that mean?
It means that sometime between before the director arrived and after, someone turned this knob.
Ah!
After the scene was discovered, you were the only one who could have turned the knob. Come on now, Director Cosmos, let's hear what you have to say. What were you trying to do by turning that knob by the door?
Yeah? Fine, I admit it. You're right. I did turn that knob. That knob is a safety lock meant to keep the launch pad in place. I was afraid there would be more explosions, so I wanted to move the launch pad away.
You wanted to do what?
Hey, didn't Punko tell us something about how they prepare for launch? She said that once the launch pad's fully assembled, it's moved to the launch site.
I think it's coming to the place now. A little bit.
But the safety lock in the boarding lounge has to be disengaged first.
I guess that clears up what that knob is for.
Oh, so if the killer escaped into the Launchpad 1 corridor, maybe they were transported along with the launch pad to the launch site?
I don't think so. The Launchpad 1 corridor was filled with smoke. I don't think they could have escaped through that corridor.
So then where did the killer escape to?
Guess there are still some things we have to uncover. Director Cosmos, I request that you tell us about moving the launch pad in more detail.
Fine, but listen carefully, for I'm about to give history-making testimony. All right. I had no choice but to disengage. Well, why is he happy
Why
about
is he
that?
happy about that?
When he had no choice?
Now let me
happy.
Now let me go ahead and keep going.
All right, then. I feared there might be more explosions, so I had to cut the launch pad loose. Surely the only escape the killer had was through launch pad 1. But that area was a sea of smoke. Confound it! Where on earth could they have gone? All right, back to that first
So
statement.
why is he happy about that?
Happy about having no choice but to disengage the safety lock? Get him.
Got it. I had no choice but to disengage the safety lock. You make it sound like you were reluctant to do so. And yet when you did it, you felt some joy, as if you were very pleased with yourself.
How do you do it? How do you know everything as if you were there?
Pretty impressive, isn't it? This is the power of analytical psychology.
So, care to explain why you felt joy when you disengaged the safety lock? When I think back on the facts we've discovered up to this point, I have to believe that you were trying to fulfill some hidden agenda.
How do you know about that too?
Because I'm more or less a pro at guessing.
But you have no proof that I had a hidden agenda. And even if I did, I would never ever tell you. So there.
I know they say people regress as they grow older, but you, sir, take the cake.
And how could you doubt a man with such great intensity, intelligence, and integrity? It's true.
Oh, it's damn true. He's Kurt Angle up in here.
Silence.
Silence. You, a man of integrity, don't make me laugh.
I like that.
Prosecutor Blackwell? What came over him all of a sudden? You've spouted nothing but falsities since you stepped up to the stand. You're not the kind of man that will be glorified in the annals of history. Not for greatness, anyway. Unless you consider greatest bare-faced liar an honor.
Liar!
His words bite harder than his blade. You moved Launchpad 1 after the explosions. Mine, how naive you are. You fail to realize how even the facts themselves have betrayed you. You know, just a thought, but modern English can be your friend. And here's a thought for you. Immediately following the bombing, Launchpad 1 was on the boarding lounge 1 side. The police confirmed this on scene.
What? Liar!
So that means the director didn't move the launch pad?
Curse my judgment for calling history's greatest liar to the witness stand. Let us leave him to indulge in his lies and war games to his heart's content.
Liar!
Objection! But it doesn't make sense. You can't deny that someone turned that knob. And once the safety lock was released, I'm sure the pad must have went somewhere. If we chase down the truth of this issue, we just might find where the killer escaped to. Ah! You're sure it must have went somewhere? We just might find out. Your arguments are nothing but conjecture, bluffing, and wishful thinking. Huh! Stop chasing your fantasies and see reality for what it really is.
Who's a bigger fraud as a witness, Cosmos or Filch?
Cosmos. I mean, Filch is just... just because Cosmos is so braggarty. Or are you not man enough to, boy? Gah!
Talk about hitting below the belt.
You youngins these days. I don't understand it. I'm sure Director Cosmos must have moved the launch pad. The knob was definitely turned after he came to the lounge. But the launch pad is right where it's supposed to be. Wait a minute. Maybe I have it all backwards. What if the director turned the knob not to move the launch pad away, but to bring it back to where it was supposed to be? What are you blathering about? What if the launch pad was at the launch site before the incident? And then, after the incident, Director Cosmos moved it back to its usual spot. All he had to do was turn the knob to call the launch pad back. And it would be right where the police found it. Gah!
You made him sigh like Mr. Starbuck.
Was what I said really that off base? It pains me to have to explain how wrong your own logic is to you. However, our great liar turned the knob only after he discovered the crime scene. Indeed, the pod existed beyond the lounge when our Astro Wonders made their escape. A fact that has been recorded for posterity on filmless film. Oh, right. So, to reiterate, stop chasing your fantasies and see reality for what it really is, boy. Ah!
Get a grip, Mr. Wright, and focus. We know the launch pad must have been moved.
But our deductions and the actual facts of the case are in direct contradiction to each other. Here's a question. What does that knob actually do? We can't prove that it actually moves the launch pad, just disengages the safety locks. You have to do it from the control room, don't you?
I don't know. Anyway.
Well, maybe the two astronauts never actually boarded the rocket. This footage could be fake, taken with body doubles after the incident or something.
Yeah, and it does say that, look, it says number 2. But who would do body doubles?
On second thought, that's too far-fetched, even for me.
Never actually boarded the rocket? Hey, wait a minute. Maybe, just maybe.
Huh?
Prosecutor Blackquill, what if I told you that the two astronauts never set foot inside the launch pad area, but instead went into another place? And what if when the director moved launch pad 1 back, it was not from the launch site, but from another place? What would you say then? Cut the existential bull, or I'll cut you.
Mr. Wright, you will explain yourself at once.
I know I'm right. It was all the other way around from the beginning. Very well, Your Honor. Let me explain. Director Cosmos' reason for moving Launchpad 1 was
To switch it with another place.
switch it with another place because he wanted to switch it with some other place.
I'm sorry, but did you say switch it? But what could he possibly have switched the launch pad with?
Oh, you would be surprised, Your Honor. All it takes is a little thinking outside the box, and the answer becomes clear as day. This is what was switched with Launchpad 1.
The Space Museum.
Take that! Launchpad 1 was switched with the Space Museum. In the past, the Space Museum used to be Launchpad 2. It has all the same features as Launchpad 1 and can even be moved to the launch site, meaning the Space Museum and Launchpad 1 can also be switched with each other.
You can't mean...
The rocket the astronauts boarded was not the one in Launchpad 1. It was the one in the Space Museum. What? Balderdash!
The Space Museum? What could this be?
And yet, it's the only explanation that accounts for every riddle and inconsistency. This is how the Space Center was just before the incident.
I see Launchpad 1 and the Space Museum have already switched places.
That's right. And with the two switched like this, the astronauts entered the Space Museum from boarding lounge 1. This allowed the true killer to enter Launchpad 1 from boarding lounge 2 and set the bomb on the rocket.
Come to think of it, the door to the Space Museum from boarding lounge 2...
Welcome. The Space Museum is open to the public every day of the year from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Exactly. Anyone could pass through the door to the Space Museum. There is no fingerprint recognition system on that door. In other words, with the two launch pads switched like that, someone other than Mr. Starbuck could have easily planted that bomb. Gah! After setting the bomb on the rocket, the culprit snuck into boarding lounge 1 and waited there, concealed, in order to kill Mr. Terran when the two astronauts emerged from the Space Museum. Recall that Ms. Blackquill, Mr. Starbuck, and the director all saw a suspicious figure, who we can suppose, after killing Mr. Terran, made their escape into the Space Museum. After that, Director Cosmos switched the two launch pads back without realizing the killer was inside the Space Museum.
Oh.
The killer then left the Space Museum and made a clean getaway.
No!
Right, Dodo. I see you know how to handle a sword, and handle it well. Perhaps I should call you Sword Master Bluff? I'm a seasoned warrior who has cut down many a prosecutor. Silence! But unless you can prove your theory, it's no better than a rusty sword.
That's right! You have no proof I switched the launch pads!
Somebody needs a better anger management counselor.
If the launch pads really were switched, there might be a record of it somewhere.
At this point, Launchpad 1 and the Space Museum were switched with each other.
So the corridor beyond the door should be the one that belongs to the Space Museum. Let's see. This is an image of the Launchpad 1 corridor. Do you see anything different when we compare it to the security footage?
Huh? That number on the floor. Well, what do you know? It looks like we have proof after all, Prosecutor Blackquill. And if this is just another bluff? No, don't worry. It's all right here. Right in this footage. Proof that beyond this door is the corridor to the Space Museum.
Very well then. Answer this for me if you would. What in this footage proves that the corridor belongs to the Space Museum? That number 2 right there.
Take that! There's a 1 on the floor of the Launchpad 1 corridor. But take a look at the floor of the corridor in the security footage. Do you see the number on the floor behind the astronauts? It doesn't look like a 1, does it? That's because what you see is actually part of a 2. What? Why is it a 2 and not a 1? That's because the corridor you see is the one to the Space Museum. Gah!
And so that means the corridor in this footage was not filled with smoke.
That's right, because the explosion didn't occur in the Space Museum. The explosion occurred in Launchpad 1 on the opposite side of the Space Museum.
The side opposite the Space Museum.
It's the same thing. And now that we know the 2 astronauts escaped from the Space Museum, the mystery from the previous trial of how they got down the ladder is cleared up. Mr. Terran, carrying Mr. Starbuck, simply took the elevator from the upper level down to the middle level.
Just incredible. The 2 launch pads were actually switched. But you'd think someone would have noticed an event of this magnitude.
Everyone was down in the basement shelter when the launch pads were swapped back. There's no way anyone could have known what was happening on the surface.
Ah, there goes the Discord. Aha! That's right. Space Museum. Yeah, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. No more lies, Director Cosmos. It's high time you told us the truth. Oh, boy.
Well, my glory! Everything is slipping away! Time to deploy my ultimate weapon! Galactic engine! Ignition! What? It's gone haywire! It won't stop! My stars! My glory! No, not that way! Bailiff! On your stain and after that witness!
Yeah, good catch him. Catch that bastard.
Go, go, go!
Oh, boy.
I see we managed to retrieve you before you came to any bodily harm.
Director Cosmos, do you admit you switched the launch pads?
I admit it's true. I switched Launchpad 1 for the Space Museum. It is good to hear words I can believe for a change.
Before you do, Your Honor, 2 things. First, we don't know if Mr. Terran had prior knowledge of the switch. As for Mr. Starbuck, he was unaware of his surroundings thanks to his medication. Either way, Mr. Terran would have realized the instant he stepped into the Space Museum that it had been switched with Launchpad 1. So my first question is, if the Space Museum was perfectly fine, why did Mr. Terran feel the need to put on such a dramatic display? As for my second question, I'd like Director Cosmos to tell us why he switched the 2 launch pads to begin with.
Please, I can't. I exercise my right to remain silent. But I will say, my hands were tied. I was only doing what I could to keep my men from getting caught in that blast.
The director is terrified. He must have one heck of a reason for not wanting to explain why.
Probably not a good time to try to pry it out of him, huh?
Excuse me, but would you mind if I picked up my stars? Without my badge of rank, I'm nothing.
I don't see why not. Bailiff, help the director retrieve his stars.
See you, fourth wall!
It appears the possibility of a culprit other than the defendant has presented itself. Mr. Starbuck, is there anything you wish to say?
I don't get it.
Don't get it? What don't you get?
Director, why did you do all that? From the very beginning, you never meant for the launch to go ahead, did you? You tricked us!
Mr. Starbuck.
Starbuck, my boy, I'm sorry. I can't tell you the reason why, but I had to do it to protect the Space Center. Director, will I ever get the chance to go into space again?
Oh, boy, I sure hope so.
Yes, of course. I won't rest until it happens. I will get you into space again, my boy. Then the dream is still alive. Silence!
Oh, he ain't done yet, folks.
You're not going into space, Starbuck, but prison. I won't have it any other way.
Why are you so hung up on him?
Yes, I accept that the launch pads really were switched. And if there were a third person at the scene, I suppose they could have escaped. But I have yet to see proof of this third person's escape via the Space Museum.
Oh, that's a good point.
He's right. I don't have any proof.
Blacquill, why'd you have to ruin the moment?
Yeah, why? Starbuck, you will spill everything you know.
What? Me? Ah!
Where did you get those bombs? Tell me now. If you don't, my blade shall feast on your blood.
Ah! If I'm gonna die, I want to die in space.
I have to do something. Solomon Starbuck, prepare yourself.
Taser!
Now, you know violence isn't the answer, Prosecutor Blackquill. Huh? That annoyingly cheerful laugh. It can be none other than... Champion of righteousness, Bobby Fulbright here. In justice we trust. Detective Fulbright? Sorry to keep you waiting, Mr. Lawyer. I hope I'm not too late.
I don't believe we had an appointment.
I tried to hurry, but I ended up helping a little old lady cross the street. And then I had to break up a cat fight. I tell you, justice sure is a full-time job.
Was it a fight between cats or...
Why are you here again? Because the defendant isn't the culprit, and I came to make sure that justice is served.
I don't have any idea what you're talking about.
Fulbright. I always thought you were a bit touched in the head. But have you finally succumbed? Nope. But it looks like you've succumbed to this phantom of yours. Open your eyes and let the evidence of justice uncloud your judgment. What evidence?
Come to think of it, he did say something about finding us some evidence.
Thanks, you two. I feel a lot better now that I've been able to get that off my chest. I'm gonna work extra hard to find that perfect piece of evidence for you.
I didn't think it was serious, though.
So what is it, Detective? Is it something that will prove Mr. Starbuck innocent? It is indeed. Have a look at this. The lighter!
Oh my god, is it? What's this? A lighter?
Well, that's right. A lighter thought to have been used by the culprit, no less. The Space Museum's cleaning robot picked it up. It has the victim Clay Terran's blood along with his killer's fingerprints on it. What? Gah! Oh my gosh!
Perfect piece.
Who is it?
Perfect piece of evidence. Oh no, I don't trust. Wait a minute. Does that mean
Hold on.
order? Order.
Now, Andrew let a little fact. Let's just keep going.
Detective Fulbright, can I assume that the fingerprints don't belong to the defendant?
You bet. Mr. Starbuck is totally innocent.
This is it. This is it. This is just what I needed.
Lighter added to the court record.
The lighter found on the floor of the Space Museum. The true culprit's fingerprints are on it in the victim's blood. How do we know it's not forged? Yeah, indeed. Your Honor, this is decisive evidence that supports the defense's earlier claim.
Explain yourself, Mr. Wright.
With pleasure, Your Honor. Recall where this lighter was found. Based on that, we can extrapolate that after the killer murdered Mr. Terran, they escaped with lighter in hand into the Space Museum, where they dropped it. The switching of the two launch pads occurred. Then finally, the killer left through boarding lounge 2 and made their escape. Meanwhile, Mr. Starbuck was found in boarding lounge 1 after the murder, a fact that Director Cosmos has testified to. Therefore, Mr. Starbuck couldn't possibly have been the one to drop the lighter there. Silence. But the defendant had free reign of the area until Director Cosmos appeared. Could he not have dropped the lighter in the Space Museum during that span of time? Objection! You'd like that to be true, wouldn't you? But Director Cosmos testified that right after he saw the mysterious figure with a lighter, he went into the lounge and found the unconscious Mr. Starbuck.
It could make it too perfect, and the last time Phoenix got perfect evidence, it got him disbarred.
Yeah. Somebody's setting somebody up. In other words, Mr. Starbuck wouldn't have had the time to double back to the museum. No, Prosecutor Blackquill, this lighter could only have been dropped by the real killer. Most importantly, Mr. Starbuck's fingerprints were nowhere to be found on this lighter. I think you understand what this means, don't you? This piece of evidence unequivocally proves that Mr. Starbuck wasn't the culprit. Gah!
This does indeed appear to be decisive evidence that proves the defense's claims.
As for the remote switch that was found in Mr. Starbuck's pocket, we can assume it was planted by the killer on the unconscious Mr. Starbuck. No, there must be some mistake. Frankly, Prosecutor Blackquill, I've been worried about you. You've been chasing this phantom for 7 whole years. I understand your urgency because tomorrow... Silence! Fulbright, you promised never to speak of that. Huh? Tomorrow? What about tomorrow?
Given the body of evidence, I think it's safe to say the defendant is innocent. In light of the fact that it was impossible for him to have committed the crime, a few unanswered questions remain, so I look forward to seeing what you two uncover. But for now, this court finds the defendant, Solomon Starbuck,
All together, everybody, not guilty! Yay! Starbuck, let's go!
You are cleared for mission for space.
Yeah, baby, let's do it.
Yes! We did it, Mr. Wright!
Looks like we pulled it off somehow, huh?
With some help from Detective Fulbright.
Mr. Wright, Miss Sykes, thank you. And please thank Apollo for me, too. You all are the best.
Ooh, I wish we could tell Apollo about Mr. Starbuck's verdict right now.
Yeah, me too.
But that's gonna have to wait.
Now that a verdict has been reached, I'd like to bring today's trial to a close. Court is adjourned.
Yeah, well, we have a couple of unanswered questions. Whose
Objection!
Objection! Whose fingerprints are they?
It's too late to object, isn't it?
It simply isn't possible. Something's wrong.
But Prosecutor Blacquill, are you dissatisfied with the verdict?
Fulbright, what were the results of the fingerprint analysis for the lighter? Huh? The results?
Something's funny.
Well, I was in a hurry, you see, and then there was that cat fight, and well, I kinda got carried away when I heard the prints weren't Mr. Starbucks, so... You have yet to read it? Prosecutor Blackquill, can you read out who the prints belong to? Upon thorough analysis, the fingerprints were found to belong to Athena Sykes.
What?
What? So says the report.
What?
What? Huh?
Me?
What? Huh? What?
What? Order! Order, I say! Order! Miss Sykes, tell me you have an explanation for this. We just finished proving that this lighter could only belong to the killer, so finding your prints on it can only lead us to one grave conclusion.
I don't know how they got on there, but I know I'm not the culprit!
What?
Planet evidence. What?
This can't be happening. We've built up our argument piece by piece. And I don't think any of our reasoning was faulty. So how could it have led to this?
Lighter updated in the court record.
Evidence found by Detective Fulbright has Athena's prints on it and the victim's blood.
What? Ah! Well, what have I done? Please forgive me. I'm sorry.
Order! Order! Detective Fulbright, stop your crying!
What in the world is happening here? It's like the world's gone mad.
Order! Order! I will have order! What the heck is going on here?
I don't understand. Hell, what? Huh?
What?
What? Huh?
What?
Confusion spiraled into utter chaos. After all we'd fought for, the truth had turned cruelly on us to accuse Athena of the crimes. Somewhere, somehow, everything had gone terribly wrong. We had stumbled over the edge of reason and into the jaws of a twisted darkness. Oh, man.
Oh my
God.
That's the end of this case.
Yeah.
But Athena Sykes?
Somebody's trying to pin the murder on her.
No, that's not true.
It's not true.
No, she's not the killer. She's
Not.
not the culprit.
She's not the culprit. Oh, somebody else did it.
Well, we got to find out we got to find out tomorrow. We got to investigate this.
Yeah. So, all right.
Yeah, we got to cut it here, folks.
Yep. Join us tomorrow at 6:30, won't you?
Yeah.
This is absolutely ridiculous. How? How could this have happened? Why is Athena being figured for the crimes? How is this all connected?
And what are all the answers to the unanswered questions we have?
Yeah, who's he? What is Athena talking about? What did Mr. Wright promise? All that stuff. So, folks, you're just going to have to tune in tomorrow on our regular night at 6:30 p.m. So, I'm the Cannonball Alex Steele.
I am the package Andrew Steele.
We are the Steele Brothers, and we are for real. Top guys out. Ciao, and
I'll do-
holy shit.
Holy shit, indeed. And